I just wanted to do a brief review and comparison of the Holosun 507 comp and a Trijicon RMR, kind of explain the pros and cons of each and why you would want one versus the other. I'll go ahead and start with the 507, get this out of the way. So I've used a lot of different Holosun optics over the years, 407s, 507s, rifle optics, just a bunch of stuff. I've never really had any issues with them. They've been great. I've abused them. I do not treat my things very well, even though I know I should. But I don't want to have to baby something that's intended for use on firearms, because firearms are not exactly, gentle things. So this is the Holosun 507 comp. I'll give it a little brief overview of the specs. It does have an external battery tray. It has a multi-selectable reticle from a 2 MOA dot to an 8 MOA circle, circle dot, 32 MOA circle, circle dot, 32 MOA circle, 8 MOA circle dot. Like a lot of stuff going on, right? And you can kind of pick through all those things. I tend to just go with the dot. Everything else is a little bit too busy for me. It does have manual buttons for brightness on the sides here. It's also how you select the different dots and turn it on and off manually as well. It comes with their, standard shake awake technology, which is just motion activated, turns it on. It does turn off. I believe it's after 10 minutes. Some people like to talk about, oh, what if it doesn't turn on when I pick it up? I've literally never had that happen in all of the years and all of the times I've picked these up. They've always turned on when I've touched them. The battery life is fantastic. It's something like 100,000 hours, and it is also an external battery tray, so you don't really have to worry about, dismounting, re-zeroing, all that kind of stuff, which is great. I have seen people have issues with these coming loose and falling out. Not specifically on this red dot. Actually, I've only seen it on the 507K, which is their small one. But I think some thread locker on that would probably fix that issue for those people. So what is the purpose of this red dot? It is their 507 competition dot. I think that sounds pretty self-explanatory, but it's a little misleading as well. That doesn't mean it's fragile, it's sensitive, it's not meant for hard use. Like, I've already been beating this thing off the table, off my belt, off of holsters, off barricades, to rack the slide, to do whatever, to just kind of test and see how well it is going to hold up. And I've had zero issues with the glass. There's no marking anywhere on the housing. It is a metal housing, it's not polymer. The thing has had no problems whatsoever. It is a beast that holds a similar shape to the RMR, which we'll go over shortly. But the whole benefit to it is this big window. So what is the point of this big window? A lot of people like to think it's so you can see more through the window, and that's kind of incorrect. So that comes from a fundamental misunderstanding of how to actually use a red dot. You're not aiming at your target looking through this window. So you're presenting this big, ocular device in front of your eye while you are focused on the target, whatever that target may be. And that dot will present itself on the target coming off of the little emitter in this housing, reflecting off the glass. Your eye picks up that light, and you'll see it on the target. You're not looking through this window. You're looking at the target. The point of the larger window is so that you can track that dot under recoil a little bit, I don't want to say more easily, but you have more forgiveness if your grip or recoil control is maybe not the best. So as the gun is cycling, this thing is kind of bouncing up and down in this housing, you have more room for that bounce before you lose the dot. Like, see there how it kind of goes out of the window? So when you're shooting really fast, which is typically what you're doing in competition, you'll have a bit more play than in something like an RMR. That is really the only point of having the bigger window, and it's pretty unnecessary, to be honest, but it is nice still. It's a convenience, it's not really a need. But all in all, I do really like this red dot. It has been performing, pretty well so far. I've not had any complaints, any issues. I've been pretty rough on it. It was really simple to zero. It's simple to adjust. The buttons are tactile and nice. Like, I can kind of press them through my shirt if I need to adjust something, maybe coming in and out of the store or something like that, light changes, whatever. But overall, it's been pretty great. So now, how does this compare to an RMR? So the good old Trijicon RMR, it's a Type 2. This is the automatic adjusting one. I like it. It's just convenient to not have to push any buttons when light changes. So the shape, what I was talking about earlier. So the reason Trijicon designed this way supposedly is engineering and physics and strength, so it won't break. It is quite a bit smaller than the 507 comp here, as you can see, but like I said earlier, that doesn't really matter because you're not looking through that window. All that does is gives you a little bit more room before that dot disappears under recoil. So like if you see, if I move these both at the same time, you can still see the comp, but then the RMR dot is gone. The RMR does have a bottom mount battery, which is okay. Just change it out once a year. Don't be a baby about it and cry, well, now I got to re-zero. Okay, fine. You got to do that one time a year. That's really not a big deal. But the RMRs have been great. I've used them for years, and I really beat the crap out of these things. Like I don't, I kind of want to know where they're going to fail, and I still haven't found that point. I mean, I'm not going to go out and run them over with a car, or, hammer and nails with them or something stupid, because why would I ever do that with my firearm? But just general use, like needing to rack it off a thing, or maybe it falls out of a holster, or I'm rolling around on the ground. Like, never had a problem. The glass has never been damaged or scratched. Everything is great. The housing has been fine. Never lost zero. They've been fantastic. So why would you choose one of these over the other? One of them could be price point. So Trijicon RMRs, Trijicon in general, tends to come in at quite a bit higher price than Holosun. People say you get what you pay for and this and that, but realistically, you get more amenities out of the Holosun than you do out of the Trijicon. You have an external battery tray. You have better battery life, and it's all about half the price. And you do have multiple reticle options for these, which some people like. I just personally don't care for anything other than just the dot. So why? Like, why am I going to spend more money for that versus this? Some people just like RMRs. They like Trijicon. They like the name. They've been around longer. They've been field tested for a bit longer. People know for a fact that these will hold up. I mean, at this point, Holosun's kind of proven that they deserve a spot in the game. They've been doing well. They are solid. They do hold up. They're not some crappy airsoft optic. Like, they are legitimate, and you can use them for duty. I know departments that use them, not specifically this one, but use Holosun. I honestly don't know that I will continue to pick Trijicon anymore at this point, just because they've kind of proven with Holosun to be reliable, like Trijicon has, and they're half the price. And I do like the bigger window. I do a lot of, faster shooting, so to speak, and being able to track that dot a little bit more and recoil just a little bit longer. Maybe my grip coming out of my holster is a bit wonky and I'm not keeping it totally flat. It's a little bit more forgiving, which is nice, and I don't know, I just like it a little bit better. All in all, you can't really go wrong with either of those red dots. They're both phenomenal. It really just kind of comes down to if you want a name brand thing, or shouldn't say name brand, if you want a popular brand thing versus the one people like to talk crap about, go with the Trijicon. If you want something that's not going to cost more than your firearm did and work arguably better, go with the Holosun. It's really up to you. I have them both. I use them both. I love them both. Can't really go wrong with either one.